Hello everybody and welcome to another Destiny build video. Today is an incredibly strong Stasis Hunter build. This one is a lot of fun to use, is very good, and as you're seeing in the footage here, this is a Grandmaster difficulty solo op at minus 30 power, so it is still kicking booty. It is incredibly strong. So this build is going to allow you to slow and freeze enemies in so big quantities. You're going to be able to just freeze and shatter them, and it's literally just a super good stasis build. It is going to get you through some pretty hard activity, and like I said, it's also a lot of fun to use, which is always a good part of a build. If it's fun to use, then it's usually a good build. So I'm going to show you how to put this build together so that way you can take it and use it in your high-end content in solo ops, fire team ops, pinnacle ops, etc. I mean, it's even so good, it literally broke the game. And I'm not even kidding, it literally broke the game. So let me show you how to make this build. So we're going to start over here with the armor and the stats. Now this is going to be kind of a funny little thing, but you technically do not need any specific armor piece. There is going to be some that are going to enhance this build a ton, being Mask of Bacchus, Mask of Fealty, and even Wormhusk Crown. As you can see, I decided to go with Wormhusk Crown because we're going to get a ton of dodges, and this is going to help us get back some health and shield every time we use that dodge. So that's why I really like the idea of having Wormhusk Crown, but yet again, there is technically no required exotic. I would just recommend those three of the main choices, so Mask of Bacchus, Mask of Fealty, and Wormhusk Crown. As for your stats, you're only going to have two stats you want to have up. You're going to want a class stat as close to a 100 as you can get, and you're going to want your melee stat to also be as close to a 100 as you can get. Now, I know mine doesn't exactly reflect that too well, but that is just because of the armor that I have thrown on. But that is going to be what you want, is around a 100 class and a 100 melee. That way, we're going to be able to use our dodge and get back our melees, like, repeatedly, and it's going to be very nice. As for the armor set bonuses, I technically just have on these two because I have two pieces of each on for my stats, so you can throw these on if you would like as well. The 2-piece for Last Discipline and the 2-piece for the Bushido set. That is entirely up to you, but these are not exactly required to make this build good, especially Last Discipline. That's not really going to help too much here, but Bushido is a pretty good one to still put on for the 2. Now for our weapons, we only have one required weapon here for this build, and that's going to be Aegir's Scepter. Aegir's Scepter is an amazing weapon where every final blow with this weapon will generate a slowing burst. Obviously, the slow can freeze enemies as well around the defeated target. So this is a very strong stasis weapon, and that's going to be our go-to. Now, as you would have noticed, I was using a double special loadout. I wouldn't recommend that. I just did it for power level, so that way it keeps me up at a 370 around the Grandmaster level. So you can go ahead and use whatever energy and heavy weapon you would like. Just Aegir's Scepter is the only required one. Next is going to be our subclass, and we're going to start over here with our super. Obviously only one choice, but we're going to use Silence and Squall. Not that we have a choice, but it is a good super anyway, and can't be too mad with it. For our dodge, we're going to use Gambler's Dodge so that when we use it, we will get our melee back. This is why you're going to want a high melee status, close to a 100 as you can get. For your jump, go ahead and use whatever you're most comfortable with. For your melee, we also don't have a choice since Bungie refuses to give Stasis more than one melee. But Withering Blade is pretty good, so it's alright, and it works pretty good with this build since it will slow enemies. Then for your grenade, you can technically go ahead and use whatever grenade you would like. Technically. Though Duskfield is going to be probably the best choice because it's going to slow enemies, where the Cold Snap and Glacier Grenade should more freeze enemies on hits. So Duskfield is probably going to want to be your go-to because we're going to pair it here with Winter Shroud. So dodging will slow nearby targets, but this is the key part right here. Slowing targets will increase your class ability regen. This is what's going to help us get back our Gambler's Dodge so much, which is going to allow us to get a ton of Withering Blades, and it's just going to keep going in a cycle. It's really nice. And of course, Grim Harvest is going to be our other aspect, as this is going to make us, when we defeat those slowed or frozen targets, it will create stasis shards. These shards grant melee energy when picked up, and will give us frost armor every time we pick one up. Now for our fragments, we're going to start with fissures. This is going to increase the damage and size of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or a frozen target. For us, this is key going to be a frozen target, but obviously if you swapped your grenade to something like Glacier, then technically that will also take effect. Next, you're going to want refraction, as this is going to make so when you defeat slowed or frozen targets, it will grant us class ability energy. Just another way we're going to get our Gambler's Dodge back even quicker, so that way we can use our Withering Blades and keep the cycle going. Then Whisper of Chains is going to be our next choice. Defeating targets while you have Frost Armor, which we should pretty much always have Frost Armor, is going to have a chance to create a Stasis Shard. This is just going to help us create some more shards, get some more melee energy for our Withering Blade, and also give us some Frost Armor thanks to Grim Harvest. Then we're going to use Whisper of Conduction. Whisper of Conduction is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated fragments in the game, because Stasis Shards are so annoying to have to run around and pick them up, especially when you just need them to come over to you, so that way you can get them and get your stacks of Frost Armor. So this is the literal remedy to that, where they're going to come to you rather than you have to go to them. So picking up, well, I should say, nearby Stasis Shards will track to your position so you can pick them up. And last but not least is going to be Whisper of Rime. This is going to increase our Frost Armor duration to 13 seconds. It's also going to make it so we can have 8 stacks instead of 5 for Frost Armor. This is going to increase how much damage reduction we can have when we get up to max stacks. Up next is going to be our armor mods. And starting here with the helmet, we're going to have a harmonic siphon and 2 special ammo finders. Just so that way we generate an orb on rapid stasis weapon final blows, aka Aegir Scepter, and this way we get some more ammo for Aegir Scepter since we are using a special ammo weapon as our main weapon. For the gauntlets, we're going to have harmonic loader and 2 heavy-handeds. Heavy-handeds are just going to make it so that we have a 5-second cooldown, and every Withering Blade kill after that 5-second cooldown is going to spawn an Orb of Power, which is going to be pretty nice. Now, the Harmonic Loader can be swapped out if you'd like. I honestly would probably recommend swapping this out for something like Impact Induction, Focusing Strike, Momentum Transfer, Bolstering Detonation. In other words, any other one of here that costs 2. The only reason I had Harmonic Loader on is because obviously I just wanted to increase my reload speed of Aegir Scepter, and honestly kind of didn't really think about putting one of these on. So you're probably going to want to put on one such as Focusing Strike, which will grant class ability energy when you cause damage with a powered melee attack. Now for your chest piece, we're going to put on a Concussive Dampener and 2 Emergency Reinforcements. We're going to get a ton of armor charge with this build, and this is going to allow us to have Emergency Reinforcement up pretty much all the time. So this will make it that when your shields get broken, you will gain damage reduction. This is going to help keep us alive when things go south, so we're going to want those 2 on. And Concussive Dampener is pretty good, but it can also be swapped to something like Sniper, Melee, or even an Element. So that one's just kind of up to you in what kind of activity you're in with what kind of damage. Now you can also go ahead and swap one of these other ones out for another one like this. So if you want one Emergency Reinforcement and then like another Resistance mod, you can do that as well. It is a little bit up to you. There's a little flexibility on it. Now for the boots, we're going to have Elemental Charge and 2 Stasis Weapon Surges. The Elemental Charge is how we're going to keep up armor charges like crazy, because collecting Stasis Shards will now have an escalating chance to give us armor charge. And then those 2 Stasis Weapon Surges is going to increase our Aegir Scepter damage, or our Stasis Heavy if you also have one of those on, by 17% when we have an armor charge. Just a nice little bonus. And for our class item, we're going to have 3 Reaper mods on. You can swap one off for something else if you'd like an Outreach, maybe a Powerful Attraction. You can do that. The reason why we have 3 is because it eliminates the cooldown between dodges that your next weapon final blow will spawn an Orb of Power. Having 3 on takes the cooldown away entirely. Having 2 makes it about 4 to 5 seconds. So this is pretty good because this is going to allow us to generate more orbs than normal, since we'll be able to dodge like almost all the time. Now for our artifact, which is going to enhance this build a ton, we're going to start over here with one with Frost. This is just a nice little one to take, especially in this column. There's not really any others for Stasis. So you're going to want one with Frost, which is going to make our Stasis weapons have increased reload speed and stability when Frost armor is active. In the next column, we're going to go with Fever and Chill. Rapid precision hits with stasis weapons will grant frost armor stacks. This is going to be a really good one since you can hit precision damage with Aegir's Scepter. Then we're going to have Frost Renewal, which is going to be amazing with this build. While you have Frost Armor, taking critical damage releases a burst that will freeze nearby combatants and also grant Frost Armor to you and nearby allies. This is such a great one. One of the best artifact perks in my genuine opinion. So you're going to want that one. And then we're going to put on Refresh Threads. So picking up an elemental pickup that matches our subclass element, which is Stasis, so Stasis Shards, is going to give us energy to our least charged ability. That's going to be a really nice one because whether it's melee or not, we're still going to get another chunk to our least charged ability when we pick up a Stasis Shard. Next will be Elemental Coalescence, which is going to make so that when we defeat targets, it will have a chance to create an elemental pickup matching our equipped super, meaning we have another way to spawn Stasis Shards. And in the final column here, we're going to go with Frigid Glare. While your Frost Armor is active, Stasis Precision Final Blows will cause combatants to release a freezing burst. This is incredibly strong with Aegir's Scepter. It is so much fun also to use with this build. It is phenomenal. And we're also going to throw on Elemental Overdrive. Picking up an elemental pickup, aka Stasis Shard, will grant increased damage to weapons of the same element. This is going to help increase Aegir's Scepter damage even further. And if you really want to though, you can swap this one out for Shield Crush. That is up to you. This one is kind of your decision. Shield Crush makes it though that while you have Frost Armor, your melee recharges faster and will deal increased damage. So with all that being said, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this build. And while you're down there, if you like the video, why not hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share, all that good jazz. We got a lot of build videos on the channel, so there's always something to check out, and of course, more on the way. With all that though, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, I will see you around the tower.